creating special effects, and I'll do some more outside with the textbook because some areas the textbook does not cover. So we're going to do the bone tool, we're going to do mask effect. So we're going to start off with the mask effect, and before we do, I'd like to show you an example. So I'm going to show you this example. I've got two sort of animations here. Let's do a dunk animation. And basically dunking, I mean, this is where we're using the mask effect. So mask effect basically jumps into this water, and then there's this splash effect, and this section here is a mask. So you can cover sections of your animation, and you can have sections of your animation that you'd like it to appear. So if we open this, I'm just going to run through it how it's done, but then I will start from basics just to give you an idea. I mean, this got a different version here, an alien, and I've got a deco that shouldn't be there. So I've got this alien. So the main thing to remember, what you see here, these symbols, these are masks. If we were to remove this, and let's just, and now you can see this section here, this actually comes down. Now if we play this, we could see the sections that are only going to display are the sections that are hidden, and you will see it when we start on this. So let's actually just launch Flash. Let's launch Flash. And I'm on page 5-4, lesson 1, mask effect. And here there's just set up text, and then we've got this circle that moves back and forth. So I'm going to create a blank blank file. I'm going to use a classic layout, and I'm going to just type in text, just like it is on the textbook. So I'm just going to change this to black, maybe make it bigger, center it, and I want to type in the layer name text. Then I'm going to create another layer called a mask, and I'm going to draw a circle here. So all I've done is I've just got two layers, one layer which has text, the other layer has nothing. Now when you go to the mask layer, I want to draw a circle. It's similar to the textbook. Okay, so I want that to maybe start there. And now I want to go back to my layer, then right click and find mask. Click on mask. Okay, now you will only see the area that's covered with the mask that's going to be displayed. I could unlock it to see where this is. So I'm just going to move this down, the circle, and lock it back, and now we'll see RA, or part of the A. So I want this to come off the stage, lock it. I don't see anything because I can only see content that's going to be where the mask is. Now I want to create a tween. So I'm going to create a tween which is going to be 40 frames. So I'm going to select these two frames with the shift key down. So on a PC, then I'm going to drag this across to the 50th frame, then drag it back. Now I want to have this circle, which is my mask, to tween across or just slide across. So I'm going to create a motion tween, and then I'm just going to throw it across all the way, and now I'm going to hide it and now play it, and you'll see how the mask tends to work. So remember, you can always unlock it to see and reposition if you like. Now I could move it all around. You could do the normal stuff that you would generally do with a tween. So you could cover sections of your animation and keep other sections available. viewable. Okay, so it's fairly easy to create that mask. Fairly easy to create that mask. So generally, you could have a landscape out there, and you could have like a set of binoculars or sections that you want to cover, sections you don't. For example, the example I showed, this section is masked. I only want to display this section here and the top section. You don't see anything else, so you generally see this body jump in and there's a splash effect. Okay, this does take a while to do. It took a few hours. Frame by frame animation and combining it with other tweens. Any questions on that? So now moving on. So yeah, I mean, creating that water effect, that's a frame by frame. I mean, yeah, that's the hardest part there. The hardest part is the object is jumping in, and then you can see the face slides down, the face gets bigger, and the hands do too. Okay. So giving you the effect, there's water there.
Why was the mask implemented in that then?
The mask basically allows me, if we open this particular movie, Yeah,
I'm not quite sure how it was implemented, because you showed us that.
So I've got 2 layers. I've got the top layer, and then I've got another mask below that covers the body itself, and then I've got this section here. Remove the right one there, let me see. Then I've got this section here that covers this glass section here. The rest is generally separate, and the splashes you could see are frame by frame. So you could cover sections of it. Now if we were to play it now, see, I can't see the body at the top. So if I was to undo this, let's go back. Because see this section here? Otherwise, I'd have this body going through. So I want to cover the edge of this barrel here. I don't want, otherwise we'll have the body come in front of the this container. And the same thing here. You know, if we were to, let's move that. See if I got it right there. Don't think I moved it. Yeah, now I've got actually a transparency there. So that's just a transparency. So it gives you the effect you're looking through some kind of a glass.
Oh, so that's something you do with a mask too, you can apply transparency to objects?
Well, no, a mask is separate to transparency. Transparency is, you may be dealing, if you're dealing with maybe glass, you may have a particular individual maybe, looking through a window. Right. So you can create another layer and make it alpha, lighten it up a bit. So that's where you would generally use it. Let's actually move this back. Okay, so moving on, we're going to now move on to sound. Now, if you go to Angel and you go to a folder called Resources, you will see a free sound loops file there. Free sound loops. So I'm going to open in a new tab. And this is flashkit.com. Flashkit.com, you can go there if you like. And there's lots of loops you can use. There's lots of loops. You've got alternative music, ambient, easy listening, ethnic, rap, sales, whatever sort of appeals to you. And whatever appeals to your type of animation. So the animation you're going to have needs to have sound. If there's no sound, the animation just doesn't have much depth to it. So I would encourage you to come down here and make sure you play around. when you start playing around with your layers, you should find, you know, the use of masking, where you would want to use it, where you will not want to use it. You'll come to a dilemma when you're trying to figure out, you know, this shouldn't appear like that. I need to cover this particular graphic. How do I do it? You can either do it by chopping it out from that layer, or what you can do is you can introduce the mask. So moving on to the next section, which is sound. Under week 5, I have got 2 links: create your own sound and free sound loops. So free sound loops is the FlashKit website where you can download sound. And there's also another one, create your own sound loops. So this is a Flash based. Here you can actually create your own sort of particular sounds if you want to. So I want to maybe have a laser shoot. You know, you can create the attack time. You could change the sustain time. You can have, you know, all kinds of customizations. We could have a particular mixer. You can have explosions. You know, if you're trying to get the effect of somebody closing a door, maybe. You know, at that particular point, you could do that. So I want to export this. I want to save it. It's going to be a WAV file. So that may be an issue. You don't want too many of these because WAV files can be fairly big. And I think it may allow you to save it as a let's see. I'm going to see if I could save it as an MP3. So I don't think you can here, but you may want to convert that. There are other tools out there. So this allows you to create small individual sort of sound bites that you may want to introduce into your movie clip. So the other one was, you know, sound loops that keep repeating over and over again. So I want to go for maybe, I don't know, ambient. Let's see what's available on the ambient. So let's play. I'm going to go for something that's short, maybe 4 seconds. Okay, I'll probably go for that. Let's see what we have. So I want to download this. So there, I just clicked on the link. Now I'm going to go to download MP3. I'm going to do right click, save target as, and there's my MP3 file. So I'm just going to rename this to Darkness. So I'm going to save this to my desktop. So I've actually saved an MP3. Let me delete these extra files. And I have a WAV file. So I have these 2 files, an MP3 and a WAV file. And I want to dump it into my movie clip. So the best way to do that, I'll just say, let's have explosion. And let's say have this, you know, music background or something. Now I'm going to select the layer and I'm going to dump darkness into it. Now it's preparing to import, so all I did was just dragged and dropped it. That's one way of doing it. You can also throw it into the library if you want to. Remember, the library has lots of objects, and sound is also one of those extra objects. So wait for it to import. Okay, let's see what's happened now. Did it crash? Okay, so that's imported. Now where is it? It's actually in our library. Now when we click on the library, or you can go to Windows, Library, Control L is a shortcut. There's our Darkness MP3. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the explosion. I've just created those layers. I'm just going to drag and drop it. And it's going to do its bit. And there's explosion. Explosion wave. And Darkness MP3. And you can play both of these here if you like. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to now dump it onto my movie clip. So my movie clip's going to be, I don't know, say 70 frames. Actually, let's stretch it out a bit. Let's do 100 frames. So I've got this movie clip that's going to be 100 frames. Now I want to insert my music, one of my music files, which is darkness, onto the music layer. So there it is. That's been placed on my layer. I just dragged and dropped it to the frame. Now if I play it, okay, I probably need to stretch it longer because this was like a 4-second. So just to show you, it does loop. So I'm going to pull this out a bit more. Okay, so there it finishes there, 115 frames. And you can have it, you can place it again if you like. So I'm just going to remove it there. And now I've got these explosions I want to appear somewhere. So I'll just call this explosion sound. Now I'm going to create another layer and just have some sort of circles, kind of blast off or something. No, maybe call it blast. So every 15, say every 25 frames, I'm going to create an insert keyframe. Insert keyframe. Another one there. Insert keyframe. So I'll just do it there for those 2 frames for starters. And now under my blast, I'm going to have this circle will appear, then it'll just disappear. I'm just going to have this circle appear, then just disappear. That's all it's going to do. I'm going to do the same thing here. Another circle. Insert keyframe. Remove it. So basically what happens now, if we play this movie, it just appears and disappears. Okay, nothing spectacular, but now I want to introduce an explosion. That explosion, I want that to sync the time my circles appear, so they have to be exact. So I'm going to insert a keyframe there, right above where my circle appears. And sometimes it's a good idea to have it just before. Remember, sound takes a bit longer to travel than light, so I'll just introduce it a bit, just slightly before. And now, right here, I'm going to introduce, or put in that explosion there. Same thing here. I'm going to introduce that explosion. Now let's see what happens. Okay, let's play that. So you can see the difference it makes by just introducing some sound. Didn't take long, but you can see that when you do have your animation, when you have anything like that, even a stampede or something, you have that kind of sound running in the background. So you can have multiple sounds playing at the same time. I could have maybe another layer. Let's see if we can create another layer with sound, and I'll go back to create your own sound. And let's create something else, and I'll save it. So no, let's do power up or something. Let's go for this one. I'm going to, let's see, what's the type? Okay, I'll go for that. So you could be here all day playing around with this. So I'm going to go for this particular sound. You can also have change the volume, play around with. So I'm going to export this sound. I'm going to export wave, and I'm going to save it, power up. I'm going to leave it as is, save it to my desktop. And now let's go back into Flash. And this time I want to create another layer, and I'm going to call this power up sound. And now I'm going to have my other layer, power up, and I'm going to insert some keyframes, so maybe one there, one over here, and I'm going to have this time, I'll have a circle again, maybe a different color, say red. It's another circle, and I want to see how large the sound file is. So I'm going to insert another keyframe right there, insert before. I normally place it before because then you're kind of synced as opposed to exactly. You can place it exactly where the frame is. So now I'm going to drag and drop power up, and now check my library. There's power up. So now right here, when I select the layer, I'm going to drag and drop it. And you can see it's quite long, that sound, compared to that earlier one. So I'm going to stop it here. Insert keyframe. I'm going to stop my animation just there. Now I want this to kind of tween. So I'm going to do create motion tween. And I'm just going to have it kind of fly out. Okay, so let's actually just go with that. So let's play it. Play it now. Start again. Let's introduce that again. So remember, you can copy and paste frames. So I could say I want to copy this block of frames. I could say select that section, right click, copy frames. Then you need to insert a keyframe. So I'll just insert it there. And I want to right click, paste frames. I want to do the same thing here, right click, copy frames, and now I want to paste it there. Okay, now it'll take you further down, so I want to stop it just right there. So you can select chunks of your movie clip and you can delete it. I could just do this if I want to. See what happens here. Okay, and I want to move this. We could leave it there. I'll just move it off the stage here. So now if we were to play it, so sometimes your animation may not be so great, but your sound would balance that out. You know, you may think, geez, I can't create that smooth sort of transition of animation. I'm just not good at it. But you can throw a lot of sound in, and you can really make your animation come to life. So imagine, you know, watching sort of cartoons or something. Everyone's watched cartoons. Some people still do. Imagine muting that, then try watching the cartoons. It just doesn't feel as deeper. Doesn't give much depth. So it's always a good idea to do that. So what we've actually just done is we've done some sound. So I'd like to give you guys an opportunity to get next 10-15 minutes to see what you can do with some sound. And what I'll do, I'll actually put this on Angel, this particular file, so you can see how I did this. So I'll save this, save as, and I will put it on under this week, so you can download it and have a look.